I've never been the kind of person who knows exactly what she wants. From my career choice as a classical musician, which honestly I still wonder about, to the length and style of my hair, I seem to have more success whittling away what it is I don't want. I know this takes far longer, but I've also found that it leaves me open to opportunities that I might not have accepted or even been able to see had I been focused on a singular goal. This irresolution in me also extended to motherhood. In fact, I would say that the question of whether or not to become a mother was one about which I felt the utmost indecision. I've always liked children. I was even a nanny for several families throughout my 20s. Maybe I thought being around other people's kids would sway me one way or the other. More realistically, I probably thought being a musician pays like crap, so I better find another way to bring home the beans and rice. Being a nanny was fun, and I learned a boatload while falling head over heels for some amazing little humans. But I still wasn't sure if I wanted to deal with a baby who would wake up screaming every morning at 4:30 for no apparent reason. I didn't know if I wanted to answer or eventually deflect the billions of times I would be asked why by an insatiable 3-year-old. I didn't know if I wanted to clean up the pee-soaked toilet paper that had been fished out of the commode by a 16-month-old and splatted on my dining room floor of all the rooms. At least if that had happened while I was a nanny, it would have been someone else's dining room floor. If I'd imagined these exact scenarios before having children, I would have run screaming in the clear-cut direction of, oh, hell no. But then I got pregnant. Whether or not to have children is not exactly the kind of question you want to be answering when you are already pregnant, even though I know that sounds really obvious and it actually happens all the time. Or maybe that's the perfect time to be answering that question. I don't know. What was I saying before about being open to opportunities that might not have otherwise arisen? So in simple terms that leave out a lot of the flip-flopping and heartache and misplaced resentment toward my baby daddy, I had a baby. And then a couple years later, I had another baby. Fast forward to now, when I've come to realize the real reason I was unable to make that particular decision until it was staring me in the belly. A couple months ago, my family sustained a crippling blow to our lives and hearts. My partner's youngest sister, Danelle, a beautiful and compassionate soul and excellent tia to our daughters, died at the age of 44. We are left here, all trying to figure out how to proceed with our lives and hearts, knowing they will never, ever be the same again. I know this is one of the hardest things my partner has had to withstand, and I know the same can probably be said for his other sister, and their father, and Danelle's husband, and me too. But the one I can't help but cry for at night when I've finally stopped moving is her mother. How on earth is she to endure this? How does any mother? So I know now it wasn't the fear of sleepless nights or the premature gray hair or the loss of my independence, or even the fact that I knew having kids would force me to look at myself more closely than I would ever willingly do, that was keeping me from ultimately deciding about having a family. It was the fear of loving someone so hard, so thoroughly, without exception or reservation or second thought for their entire lives, and then losing them. I know that a fearful existence is one of those things I can definitely put on the stuff I don't want list. And I'm familiar with the old adage, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. I suppose it is better. But better isn't guaranteed to be easy, and it doesn't promise to come without unimaginable heartbreak. I feel seized with inaction, arrested in my ability to decide anything in fear of the worst thing I can fathom. I'm reminded now of a big black bird I recently saw flying just at the edge of the interstate on an incredibly windy morning. It wasn't moving forward at all, just suspended there, working so hard to keep from getting blown away by the interminable gust. I am that bird, but maybe now I am inert enough to observe and absorb the reflective words of Louise Erdrich. which seem to illuminate the only way forward. Life will break you, she says. Nobody can protect you from that, and living alone won't either, for solitude will break you with its yearning. You have to love, you have to feel. It is the reason you are here on earth. You are here to risk your heart. You are here to be swallowed up. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself you tasted as many as you could.